All right, well, we got one Zoomer and a room full here. You can't even see it. Well, usually I make Hunter introduce me before this, but he walked away. So I'm Cameron Wilson. I have ran the Red Sign team for the past decade as the director of operations. So what that means is I basically do everything that's not selling real estate. So run the marketing, the under contracts, the finances, everything like that. And so this is my favorite class to teach because it is all about getting deals from your database, which is our like main source of business. Right now, we're like 60% of our deals right now this year are from our database. We're something like 70 closings. So math, what are we, like 50 closings from the database on the Red Sign team. Also, I'm a MAPS coach. So if you guys don't know what that is, at Keller Williams, they own a coaching company, and I'm one of like 150 people that coach agents. So there's two different plans that you can get into. Breakthrough, once you get like 75,000 in closings, GCI in a year, then you can start to get coaching every other week, and then 150 you can bump it to twice a week. So it's fun. So that's me. What was your name, by the way? Jake. And then Matt's on with us. So, all right. Today, we are going to talk about grow your database. That's our big thing. So the whole goal is to get a database to close some business in. What did you guys do on Wednesday? What was the class? Do you even remember?
Yeah, it was basically talking about we're talking about goal setting.
Oh, yeah.
Goal setting.
I wonder if it's the spark, your career.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is the most important class, so it doesn't matter. Wait, I can't see what I'm reading all the way. Move things around. All right. Gary Keller says that your database is your business. Building the number of names in it and the relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. The two big takeaways I want you to get from this. And now I clicked on Zoom, so my slide's not working. Oh, good. Two big takeaways are, there we go. The number of people in it and the relationship with those people. So that's the big idea behind our database, is we want the most people in it and have the best relationship with them is the goal. If you could do that, then you are going to win at this real estate game, because that's really the secret behind it. There are people that get somewhat successful in what I would call a transactional business. Like, you think of the people that call like FSBOs and expireds. They're just dialing for dollars. They work really hard, like probably like 9 to noon. They just call like crazy, go on the appointments, convert them, and that's how they close their business. And then they never talk to those people again. That's very transactional. We're going to be different because we want referrals and repeat business, so you don't have to find new clients all the time. So here's kind of our journey today. We're going to start with the smart data bank, which is my least favorite word for how to talk about our database. We're going to build the database, feed it, communicate with it, service it, and then do some ahas and recap. Are you using Command for everything?
I will be.
You will be.
I'm like literally signing papers.
Signing papers.
Yeah.
I love this.
Oh, it's like so
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully you, Matt, are using Command. So in Command, they have two different ways that you can input people. There's contacts and there's leads. Now, both of these people are in your database, but what we're going to focus on are the contacts. These are the people that you know and that know you. Like if I were to call your people and I'm like, hey, Jake, I'm calling your people. Hey, this is Cameron. I'm calling on behalf of Jake. He wants to sell you a house. If they're like, who the F is Jake? Then that's probably not a contact. That's probably more a lead. You have their information, but you don't know them. They don't know you. You need to work on the relationship there. And so our whole goal is to have as many contacts as possible. So Gary Keller in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, he wrote and said for every 12 people that you have in your database, you should be able to close 2 transactions. One will be actually of those 12 people will close, and then one will be a referral from those 12 people. Since there, I guess he's lowered the bar or made the math easier. He says 10% of your database, you should be able to close either referring or closing themselves. So, the whole goal of Ignite is to get 200 people. So if we were to get 200 people, you should be able to close 20 deals in a year. And so math that out, like our average commissions, 10 grand, you split that 50-50, your $5,000 that you make per closing times 20, you made 100 grand. Does that check out?
Yeah,
Okay.
we've been talking a little bit about that. too.
Yeah. So literally, like, the goal of Command is, or of Ignite is to get you 200 contacts, because that maths out to $100,000, which everyone, when they come into real estate and you say, how much money do you want to make? They always say $100,000. So step number 1, get to 200 contacts. Step number 2, close 10% of them.
Yeah.
Easy. Easy. So here's how it breaks down. We have, this is the lead generation model. We're gonna focus just on a piece of it. So there's the lead capture, like getting more people into your database. Then it's getting the people that you don't know to have a relationship with you, having contacts with them, and then closing them and getting repeat and referral business that turns into more contacts. So it's this client loop that we're building. And so there's really 2 problems in a business like this. Number 1, do you have enough people as contacts or leads that you can talk to? If the answer is no, you need to do prospecting and marketing to get more leads. If you have enough people in here, like if you have 200 people you could call, and then your only problem is, can you get to that conversion ratio? Can you get the 10% conversion so you can close the 20 deals? And that might take a little bit. It might come very natural. We'll kind of see. But so we're going to deal more with a middle section and less of lead generation type thing, because you already know them. They already know you. Makes it easy. Do it all on Command. If you have questions about Command, Hunter's probably the best person, or there's a lot of good help online. So go there. Yeah. Hunter, yeah. And he, like, it's like half his job is helping with Command.
Yeah,
And getting things set up and stuff.
I think he's my coach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good.
So.
Yeah, bug him a whole lot if you don't know Command.
Yeah, I will. Well, I signed everything up, so I've just gotta delve in.
Yeah.
Just learn it, and we have, because this is like my 5th training.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been soaking everything in,
Yeah.
and I love how we're talking about a referral system and how you can literally like tell the computer, ask the computer, where are the most referrals coming from? Arizona, here are the agents. Boom, 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 boom.
And then you can go prospect. Who do you know moving to Utah?
Yeah, I like, so.
Yeah,
you
there's some
probably
cool
know
things.
Julie and Jen, so these other people that have been there, she was saying that like she got. Just typed a message and clicked the button, and it's like, boom, there's for referral, like.
Yeah.
It's amazing technology, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. Command makes it super easy. So the more that you can jump in and just embrace it and live in it every single day, the better off you're going to be. 'Cause that's what's going to happen is very quickly you'll realize, okay, I need to communicate and have a great relationship with 200 people. And it gets really hard because I don't know. I heard this theory that we used to live in groups of 150 people, like that was the size of our tribe. And so going past the 150 gets really hard. And so most people, I mean, maybe it matches up and validates the theory, or maybe it's just happenstance, but most people can come up with 150 people they'd be willing to talk to every quarter. It's that last 50 or adding even past that gets a little bit harder. But the people that do that make way more money. There's this thing in Keller Williams, they call it 201 Club, which is if you get more than 200 people in your database, you tend to make a whole bunch of money. Like, it is ridiculous. Like, they make 3 or 4 times as much money if you have more content.
It's great.
Hey,
Sorry, I'm late. I'm gonna away and realized, no, I'm talking that matters to me. This is database, right?
It's the best day. Jenna, right? Yes.
Have your name?
I'm Cameron.
Cameron, okay.
Okay. Sorry, Chris, you're not the only one, or Jake. Why not call you Chris? You seem kind of like a Chris.
I have friends that are named Chris and an uncle that's named Chris.
Huh. Jake.
And like when you do Steve Ballin, I can go on and on. Christopher Cross.
Okay, well, we were just talking about the importance of having a database built out. So the goal is to get to 200 people. That should be like goal number one, get to 200 people. So that's what we're going to talk about, build the database. So
201, right?
201, yes, look at you. So I have these fancy little sheets here that's going to help us. Matt, and if there's anyone else on Zoom, I put this same sheet in the chat. Let me know if you couldn't open it or it's not there, because I put it before you were here. So what we're
I
gonna
don't
do
see it
here-
in the chat.
What was that, Matt? Sorry.
I don't see anything in the chat.
All right, let me drop it again. Let's see. Fine.
No, like 6 clients I'm working with, and I don't even have them in there yet. And I'm like, how do I do this?
You are classic agenting right now,
It's not good.
not putting people in your database. So this is the practice sheet. So Matt, if you can't print this out, this is fine. You can just kind of take notes, but so you can see what we're doing. So we will fill this out in a second, but just so you should have an idea, like every person in here obviously needs a name, so you know who they are. The more accurate, the better. I used to name people based off of how I met them, you know? So it would be like Jake Ignite, and that would not help me in the long run. And so I have stopped doing that, but try to get their full name, first of all, because it's real awkward when you go to like write a contract with someone and you're like, hey, what's your last name? I know it's not Ignite. So fill in their name, all of the contact information, and I think it's very important to know if they have done business with you in the past. People tend to like to do business with you again. Something like 88% of people say that they would do business again with the same real estate agent, and 12% do, and I think there's some drop off in keeping in contact. The other thing, you should have a birthday in there. So you can call them on their birthday and say, hey, happy birthday. Hope things are going well. What I do is every day I log into Facebook and I just add everyone that into my database. So it takes you a whole year to get through it, but then you have everyone's. And I'm real bad at the weekend, so it really takes like 2 or 3 years. You should know if they own or rent a house. Very important. Are you a buyer or are you a seller? Because my message is going to be very different to you. Like right now, if you know someone owns a home, you are going to say something different than if they are wanting to buy a home. If they're going to sell and buy, the message kind of gets mixed a little bit. But so you should know, do they own or do they rent? What's their job? It is so cool when you can connect people with other people that you know. Like if you know a plumber and someone, one of your clients is like, I could use a plumber. It's so cool to call your database and like, hey, do you do freelance work? Do you own your own company? What is it? Like, can I send you this referral? Can you do that? And when you send people referrals, they tend to send you referrals back. Real super easy. So what is their job? It might not help you, but maybe you know someone looking for a job similar and you can connect the two. So you're just going to be the integrator within your database. Tags, we'll talk about that in a second. And then the source. Where did they come from? How do you know this person? This could be as simple as sphere of influence, or you might want to dive a little bit deeper and say like, I met them in high school or something like that. So my very favorite way to stay in contact with the database, it's called.
Sorry.
Just kidding. I just moved it around. She said 1 second.
One second.
So my favorite way to stay in contact with the database is called DTD2. It stands for Do the Database 2. I don't know what the first one was, but we're against it. We don't do it anymore. So don't even talk about DTD. So how it works is it takes 2 letters of the alphabet, and that's who you're going to call every single week. That way, through 13 weeks, you get through all the letters of the alphabet. So for example, this week is F and G. So if you have anyone in your database who their last name starts with an F or a G, you're supposed to call them this week. And then if you can just do that, and you had 200 people, you're making like 10 to 15 calls a week to call your whole database. It makes it really super easy. So that is what we are going to do. We are going to start building your database DTD2 style. So 8 a day, that sounds so easy. What do you do with, what else do you do with your day? So like nothing else. Gosh.
No, actually, honestly, I'm working with 6 clients, so I don't have to make this. Well,
So in real estate, this is what always happens. Every single real estate agent in the world this happens to, except for the people that get out of the cycle. By staying consistent with the DTD2 or something like that, like your 8 calls a day, no matter what, then you remove yourself from this roller coaster. Because what happens is you feel like, oh shoot, I have no one that's going to close business soon. So what do? You prospect like crazy until you find some people. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shoot, I have so many people that I can't go and prospect anymore. I need to just service them. And you know what happens? All of a sudden, all of those people close and you're like, oh shoot, I have no one to work with. And you prospect a whole bunch. And it is this constant roller coaster of a ride. And you know what happens is you never close more business than you did in your best year because you were not being purposeful about it. Right? Did you guys go to the 6 personal perspectives, the E to the P? That is very entrepreneurial. Call until you have people, work with the people until you have nothing, then call again. We're going to get purposeful and do it consistently forever. Fall in love with the monotony. Gary Keller says something like that. So on this paper or map for you, you can just write it on any paper that you want. We're going to fill out all of the F's and G's that you know. So start writing them out. This is just for you, so you don't have to actually like write their full name out or something. So jump in your phone, jump on Facebook, Instagram, however you're finding these people, you can find all your F's and G's. So write their name, and then there's not a lot of room on this, but just check off. Do you know their email? Do you know their phone number? Do you know their address? And maybe you can even do Facebook. So all of these categories on this page are what command will take. And I think, Matt, I think he said Peter uses Chime. So his is going to be very similar. They just don't have the percentages like command. Command gives you a score on how well you're doing. And so the more information, more you have. So kind of check that as you go. Let's see who can get the most F's and G's. I know this is like an easy week.
Is that on purpose? That you just choose the F's and D's? I mean, I have like 500 almost in my phone, but I only have you here.
Yeah, I don't know who decided the letters. But on the back of the page, I put like a schedule for this year so you can see. So next week is M and X. Yeah, so this is the easy week. Yeah, I want to even look at mine. I don't know, there might be some. We got a Glazier and Godwin. The phone's sorted by first name, and I don't want to change that.
So. Yeah, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm getting first names that are F's.
If you want to do it that way, that's fine. This was set up for the last names, but I mean, it all works out. It's just gonna figure out how many people do you have to call and keep it systematic for you?
Also, Facebook recently made it so that I can't see all of my comments. I have to search my friends to, I can't just see them.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it's really dumb. I don't even know who I'm friends with because I can't find them unless I know their name already.
Hmm. Wonder if there's a good way to do that. Ooh, one of my Fs is a guy that looks exactly like Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's my uncle's father-in-law, so nothing to me, but he looks just like Santa. And he dresses up as Santa all the time. And he owns like 12 houses and he should sell all of them. Oh, by the way, put everyone down on this. You're gonna run into some people, like I just saw, like an ex-girlfriend of mine. Put them on the list. You don't have to call them,
Yeah.
but put every single. Or maybe you want to call
No.
them.
Do you know what I literally thought Shoney kind of looks like?
Who?
Yeah, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but just there's like a slight crisp pine. If you
Okay.
catch it,
Okay,
it's
it's
different.
like
When I clocked it, I was like, now I.
yeah,
can't
he's like a little
unsee
darker
it.
version
Yeah,
of
it's just a
Chris.
darker version
Yeah,
of
Chris Pine.
Dude.
Huh,
If you look next time, maybe you'll see it. I'm like,
yeah, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Facebook
Okay.
won't let me, sort by letter. It's just.
What?
We've got 907. But
Yeah, so with some of this, I mean. When you're first building it, that's where it becomes hard. And that's why the first step is build the database. Yeah, I'm looking through a lot of my contacts. I don't even know. Past agent. Foster, I haven't talked to him in a while.
so I have to search, it'll show me for probably 30, then I have to search. For anybody, and everything is completely random, there's no alphabetical. movement.
I've never like broken my friends down into like last name. Or he's like,
Sometimes I feel bad because. I will have better relationships with people that I know are more likely to buy a house.
yeah.
And I have to tell myself constantly, like, no, I can be friends with people just because they're not gonna do business with me. When I first got in real estate, I always told myself, like, I wasn't gonna let business ruin a friendship.
Yeah.
Cause it's real easy when someone doesn't use you as a real estate agent. So
Yeah.
like, screw you, like, I'm in real estate, like, we're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
And so far I'm doing pretty okay. I do have one friend that I decided, like, I didn't even really like them. And he's like, hey, yeah, come meet with me to sell my house. And so I like broke down what we would do. I told him what we should list it at and everything. And he's like, yeah, all that sounds good. And then he sold it with Homey. And then I was like, all right, well, I'll help you buy a house. And he's like, yeah, sounds good. And so I told him like where we were gonna look, how I was gonna help out, everything like that. I got a call from a mutual friend and he's like, I saw him walk into the model home across the street from us. And my team sold homes for this builder that he walked in the home. So it wasn't a community that we sold, but I called that list or the model home agent. And I was like, hey, I just had one of my buddies walk through. I just wanted to register to him as my buyer.
Oh, yeah.
So he went under contract at that house, found out that I had put my name as his buyer, and somehow it made him mad. He canceled that transaction. And I was like, all right, we're not friends. Like,
Official.
Like you're going out of your way not to help me, like,
Yeah, that's officially this line.
yeah, yeah,
You gotta
we,
remove people from your circle, add new people to your circle,
yep,
and the cycle continues.
yep,
That sucks.
so.
Because when you know, it's.
Yeah,
Either
it
nobody
doesn't-
gets paid or you.
Well,
get paid.
that's what I was telling him. I was like.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're getting a better deal. So,
Yeah, it. I can already see potentially there's with me and some of my people, like there might be some potential. But me, it's like whatever I get. Or whatever I miss out on, it's gonna come, I'll get it. You know what I mean? Like, it'll
Yeah.
come back. So
when
it's like-
I always tell my friends, because sometimes they're like, I just don't know. How to choose or what to do or anything. Like I have so many friends in real estate. I'm like, you know what, that's fine. Why don't you just do it like if you didn't know anyone? Why don't you just interview a few of us? And then pick whoever sounds the best. And then no one can be mad because it's like they messed up on their presentation or they didn't help you enough. It wasn't like who's your best friend. Like you gave them a shot, but you're going with who's ever the best. So
Who's loyal?
sorry.
So I'm really having a hard time trying to figure out how to get anything on Facebook. I
Okay.
got four.
4.
Four.
How's your phone? Did you get?
I mean, I have almost 500 on my phone. There are 4 SMBs.
My goodness, man, scrolling through, I had so many.
Well, mine are, okay, they're first names though.
Okay, maybe that was it. That's my F and Gs. Yeah, I got some weird Ford, Frank, Fritz. There's my Gs or Fs. Gary, Gordon, Reese.
Frederick, Greg, Jen, and just.
Oh, I put my grandma as a G,
Me too.
so,
I have a friend named Roosevelt Franklin.
ooh, that's a cool name.
And
Okay,
Aaron Frederickson.
so with this. Even if you had a few. How'd you do with email, phone, address, and birthday and job? Do you have very
I
many?
can get that stuff. I can get it all, because most of my people and they're all like. On LinkedIn anyway, so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that out there. And phone numbers and stuff. Like. Not a lot of people put their phone number out,
Hmm,
so that's kind of tricky. How would you maneuver around that? Just shoot them on Facebook, DM?
yeah. Yeah, so I would go, I'm a fan of, let's move towards like the best way to communicate, which is like. If you can get someone in person, you're gonna build the relationship way better than if you put a billboard on the side of the road, kind of that concept. And so let's move towards that, but short of being able to be in person with everyone, how do you get like a bunch of people in a group? Then maybe how do you get them on the phone? Maybe how do you send them a text message? How do you send them like a DM? How do you email them? How do you, I don't know, mail them something? I don't know what's better there. A text or a handwritten letter, because that's kind of weird nowadays.
I don't know.
So try to move as far forward, and now if you can't, then just move to the very best thing that you have. And give them an excuse why you should have their information. And so there's a lot of ways that you can do this. The one that works out the best and is the easiest, you just say. I got into real estate. And I realized that I haven't stayed in touch with people very much, and I'd love to stay in contact more. And then be able to help you if you're ever looking to buy or sell a house. Or, hey, I was just thinking about you the other day, because it's true, you're thinking about them right now. And I thought it'd be fun to catch up. What's your phone number?
I'm telling you, man, it's crazy because I've already been sending just little hints like that.
Uh-huh,
I was so impressed with the response. I was expecting people, well, some people like my buddy, and I was expecting him to, I don't know what, but it's just so cool.
yeah,
Best of luck with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
other people are like, oh, well, legit, I want to talk to you. I have questions. I'm like, you do? Like, really? Okay.
let me learn some stuff first.
Yeah, and it's so you get a mix.
Yeah, Yeah, even when I first got into real estate, I sent out an email to everyone and I said, hey, I just got my real estate license. I'd love to help you out if you have any questions. And I had
Yeah.
someone write me back and said, don't spam me with stuff like this. And so I just messaged him. I was like, dude, I thought you'd be happy for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you out. Like, I'll just remove you from my list. It was one letter or one email that I sent anyway. So it's not like I'm gonna spam you.
Oh, it's my bad. I was.
Yeah.
sorry.
So like, I was just like, whatever, you don't need to be on my list. I don't work with jerks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah,
Um,
and I was, you don't wanna be that friend that's like pushing people because it does ruin friendships sometimes. You have to kind of be engaged.
Well, and to be honest, like, you don't need real estate to ruin your friendships, but if they're not willing to support you, like, are they really a friend?
Right.
Because I have all of these people that, I mean, I have friends that are not loyal at all, and I'm okay with that. I've sold a few of them houses and a few of them I haven't, like, I helped one guy buy a house. And then he sold it without me, and then he bought a random house with me. Like, it was just like, it was timing and like what he could get out of it, and he's just like search for the best deal kind of a guy. So I was able to help him on that, but selling I wasn't. And it's just, I know that's how he is, but he sent me like 5 or 6 different referrals.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's not gonna every time, but I know he'll refer me business and he likes me. And if someone ever is talking about real estate, he'll refer me over.
Yeah,
But he's also kind of a doucher in when he does business. So,
right, because he's got his own priorities ahead of
Mhm.
everybody else's.
yep,
I have plenty of friends like that, it's fine, it is what it is.
yep. So as you're building this out, all of this information should go into command. If you haven't got into command yet, here's what it looks like. So after you add it, it will have a name. I'm not sure why they chose the weirdest name out of every for their example. And then obviously their phone number, their email, it's all right here. And then you have a timeline, and you can even open notes on the side so you can see what's going on with this lead. So that way, if you do this DTD2 plan and every quarter you're reaching out to them, you just log a call and you add some notes here. And so then the next time you go to call them, you can reference it, like they're like, oh, my grandma's sick. You can be like, oh, hey, I was just thinking about, like, last time we talked, how's your grandma doing?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, she died. And it's like, oh, shoot, I'm a jerk, Yeah, and I'm a fan of filling out the most amount of information in something like this because I forget things, like I have this buddy one time, he was getting like a high-level security clearance and he needed someone in his like life that had been with him in certain times. So we were on their mission together. So he's like, I need someone to vouch for me that I didn't like steal secrets and give it to the Chilean government. Can you vouch for me? Kind of a thing. And I was like, oh yeah. So the FBI literally came into the office to interview me. And they asked me all of these questions about my buddy and everything. And I did awesome, right? I lived with him for 12 weeks out of 2 years, but it made it seem like we were best friends the whole time we were there. So it was all going well. Like the FBI guy, he like closed his book, he stood up and he mentioned something about my buddy's wife. And I was like, oh yeah, it's been a minute since I've seen them. And he's like, for some reason, he was like, yeah, what's her name? And I couldn't think of it for the life of me. And I was like, oh no, what's her name? What's her name? He literally sat down, opened his notebook back up, wrote something down, and then shut it and left. And I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot her name. It's Mandy. It's like the easiest name in the world, but I didn't know it. And so instantly I went back to my office when I looked her up and I put it in my CRM. His wife is Mandy. Never forgot it since. So I had all of the dumb details, the dog's name, the kids' names, the spouse, where they live, why they want to move there, what they love about the area, all of the information. You can add that all to notes because it's going to arm you with more information later. Now, the other thing, I can't remember why I was like this. No. The other thing to have is tags. So these are customized to you. Use them however you want. I would not go too crazy with this. My favorite way to do it is A, B, and C. So the A people, well, this is my judgment. So as you're looking at this person, like if you were to walk into like Winco over there and you see them across the aisle, like what is your reaction and what do you do with them is how I judge A, B, and C. A, you're gonna go up and talk to them, whether you've seen them in a year or 10 years. You'd be like, oh, it's so good to see you, blah, 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 let's catch up. Or if you're like kind of just wave and acknowledge each other, that's probably a B. If you do the Homer Simpson, like sneak back into the bushes type idea, that's a C person.
Literally.
Yep. And so you can tag all of these people.
Right.
Now, the goal, if you remember, is we want the most amount of people and the best relationships. So the C's, we want to figure out how to move to B's. The B's, we want to figure out how to move to A's. And the A's, maybe there's a VIP status that we want them to be in, or a past client, or something that's greater than just, hey, I haven't seen you in 10 years, let's get together. And then when you run into them again, be like, hey, how come we never got together? Let's get together. And then you never get together. It's like the adult thing to do, say, let's get together and never do it. So tag them something like that so you can know who they are and who to focus on. Especially as you get a lot of people in your database, you're going to want to focus on the A's and the B's and forget the C's. But then when you have more time, when you're in these like lulls of who should I call? I have no business, you can work on those C's. An interesting study was done about if you were trying to find a job. They found out that the most likely that you are to get a job is if you talk to what they call your weak ties. So the people that you don't see often and don't talk to often, they're more likely to help you find a job than your really good friends. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it, like your friends know that you need a job, they're probably trying to help and things like that. But your friend's friend is probably your friend. Like you all have the same people in your same circle.
Yeah.
But you reach out to someone that you haven't talked to in 5 or 10 years, they're going to have a whole different set of friends that you don't know. And so they might know someone that maybe knows someone, kind of an idea. And you get into this whole other network of people rather than just staying within your same 10 or 15 friends. So when you think, ooh, I haven't talked to this person in a while, they are probably more likely to do business with you than not. I had this kid that lived in my neighborhood. He was 5 years younger than me. I was friends with his older brother. They lived in my neighborhood. We weren't even really good friends. He happened to register on something, came in as a lead on our website. He bought a house. He has since referred me his mom and his brother to both buy houses. So it's 3 transactions. And he is constantly looking like, could I sell my house and buy this other thing? Which he's never qualified for, but he's always constantly trying to. So he's right there. We're on the brink of like 5 transactions on a kid that I maybe hung out with 10 times in my lifetime. But it was like a very weak tie, and he keeps referring me all of these people. It is a very weak tie, but he's one of my best referrers now. So when you think like, I don't have a great relationship with him, that's fine. You can build that.
I found that people who are closest to me are like, I don't want you to know my finances.
Sometimes you do get a little of that, like if you're, which is so funny because we're going to make judgments anyway. Like I can see how much you spent on your house, whether I sold it to you or not. And then I can infer like, okay, you probably had to put this much money down. So you had that much money saved. I know what your mortgage payment probably is.
But they don't.
And
That.
like,
They're like, I don't want you to know how much, like I'm working with a client right now, who is my friend. And she's like, I'm showing her houses, but she won't let me know how much she has to put down. I'm like, okay, how can I, you know, it's like, what's your down payment? It's like, well, I don't know, like. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, some of that's hard. And it's just, it's asking them like, what's important? Like, I don't need to know how much you have. I need to know how much you want to put down.
Okay.
Like, yeah, we could go look at $500,000 houses and you should put down probably 3.5%, 5%, 10%, 15 or 20. What's your, where are you sitting? And I don't care about the rest of the money that you have.
Yeah.
Keep that a secret.
And they don't want you to know their debt.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why having a great lender and just be like, I'm just gonna send you to this lender and then just tell us what we're
So
qualified
I
for.
don't need to know their finances.
Nope.
I can just say, you know what, I don't need to know your finances. Why don't you
Yep.
just-
Yeah, go talk to the lender. And he'll give us, or he or she will just say exactly the payment that you qualify for, and then that will reverse engineer to the price. Because they'll know your down payment and everything, and so then we'll get a qualification letter that says. You can buy a house for $550, and then we know we're good at $550. And so, yeah, it makes it a little easier. All right, feed the database. In an ideal world. You are spending. Time to call your database and time to build your database bigger, this feed the database part. And so it can be done. Through prospecting or marketing. Here's the difference in my mind. Prospecting is an active activity to reach out to people. So this is like circle prospecting, door knocking. I put open houses in this, like calling people in the database and asking for other people that you should add to your database. Like, who do you know that I should know? Active things like that. The passive things where business may or may not come to you, that's what I say marketing is. You put it out there and then hope you get something. So I think of social media, like email newsletters, ads online kind of a thing.
Feel about Facebook ads.
I am mixed with them. So the average internet lead takes about 18 months to close. Now that's average. So if you get 100 people and you close 2 of them, one might close in a month and one might close in 36 months. And then it averages out. So the reason that I mix is it does work. They're very cheap leads. They're usually longer out. But if you have no one to talk to, they're a great person to add to your database. Kind of back to that lead generation model. If you don't have enough people, we need to dump people in the top through probably marketing. So it's a very easy way to do that. Now, Gary Keller says the best businesses are marketing-based, prospecting enhanced. Meaning you do a whole bunch of marketing to get leads, but you are constantly calling people and you're on the phone. Now, I would flip that when you're new in business because marketing costs money. So prospecting is free. They're like, no one's stopping you from going to walk down the street and knock on doors. It costs you $0. You don't even have to print anything or have a business card or anything. You probably want to be more prepared than that, but you don't need anything. So prospecting is free. So in the beginning, I would be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. So your default should be prospecting. And then you should supplement that with your social media posts, your emails, your other things that potentially could bring business, but might just bring more awareness.
You get a ton of social media.
Good. You should do a lot of that. I think. Gary Keller doesn't really talk a lot about social media as part of have you guys heard of the 36 touch? So this is the whole idea of if you consistently market to someone, then they'll recognize you. Like, for example, if I said, think of a brand of chips. You're thinking, let's see, you seem like Doritos and Lay's. How'd I,
I was thinking ways.
dang it,
It's
Lay's.
like, oh,
Actually, I love
Chips.
Ruffles.
Kettle chips, ooh, I've never heard that.
Ruffles, dude, that's it. Doritos.
Almost everyone thinks Lay's when you say, think of a chip brand, like that's the first thing that
It's the
pops into your
brand,
head.
The Lay's like.
Yep.
logo.
Boom, it just pops right. It's something about that red on that yellow bag or
That's what I
something.
saw.
Yep. I say the same thing. If I am at a barbecue and they have those plain, boring Lay's chips, I won't even get chips. I'll skip right over it. I mean, I'm not gonna get more salad, but I'm just gonna skip right past the chips because it's not even worth it. But I thought of Lay's first, like they have done something in their marketing, in their branding to
Yeah.
be thought of first. Yeah, maybe it's because they own everyone, right? They own Doritos, they own Cheetos. Yeah,
That's probably.
Yeah,
why.
they own everything, and so subconsciously you think of them. So the whole goal in a lot of the real estate marketing, the 36 touch, is to be thought of first. When someone's like, I want to sell my house, who are they going to call? right? Who are they gonna text with their real estate questions? You wanna be the one that's thought of. So Gary Keller has broken it out, and I'm kind of jumping around in our stuff. Wait, Matt said something. Sorry, Matt, I've been bad at reading your comments. But so Gary Keller says that you should do an email every other week to people. My favorite is just send them properties or set them up in command. You can do a neighborhood nurture is what it's called. And it sends them an email every other week about their neighborhood. So that would be the marketing. Yeah. And then they say, call them quarterly, which is the DTD2. That would be the prospecting. Every other week. Yep, so 26 a year. 4 phone calls a year. He says you should do 4 letters every single year, like mailers. And then 2 events. Now, Keller Williams, our brokerage, does 2 events every single year. You do have to pay for them, like the people that show up, you pay for, but we are already hosting those. Like you probably got the email about Keller Splash. There's an event. You have to do nothing but pay money to be involved. And so that is like the 36 touch to stay top of mind. But I think the other thing that Gary hasn't added in is social media. Like posting to your social media accounts gets people thinking about you in real estate way better than your email. I think the reason that he doesn't talk about it is because you can't own it. Like one day, Facebook, years and years ago, said, hey, if you have a business page, we're just not going to show that to any of your followers anymore. So when you post on your business page, it's not going to show up in their news feed. And they just did that one day. So everyone that worked so hard to build this business page and get all of these likes and followers and everything, one day it was useless. And now it's all about like reels. If you make reels, more people see that than if you post just a normal post. A story, like, and the more involved, and there's like all of these hacks and algorithms to be seen. But one day Facebook could say, nope, we're going to prioritize businesses that pay over you, or something like that. So it's not a great method, but in terms of security that it will happen, but it is very effective now. So I would do a lot of that to just kind of stay top of mind.
Someone that's like a really good example for me about him now, because I don't think he really needs to market for the rest of his life. He could probably just smooth sailing is Lane Thompson. And Lane he's always posting on Facebook. He'll get like 2 likes here, a few likes there, but it doesn't matter. He's just his face is always there. So you just there, okay. If I go to Facebook, I'm gonna see it goes from Lane, I guarantee it.
Yep.
He doesn't have to do that. But
Well, and you never know, like sometimes if you like set an appointment with someone that like a friend referred you, like how are they going to stalk you before you go on that appointment? Are they going to pull up your Instagram and be like, oh, all you have are bikini pics? Like what are you involved in? Like it is your brand. And so how do you create that to help you not only find business, but solidify your current business?
yeah,
So,
shows me how important that actually is to be done.
yeah. So your sphere will generate new repeat and referral business. That's the bottom part, kind of cut out the rest of the picture, but of the lead generation. So that's the whole idea. Right now, you guys are in this new phase, but real soon you're going to get in the repeat phase. And that's the coolest when you sell someone like it's very common. Like if you sell them like a condo now, like in 2 years, they could call you and be like, hey, we're just having a kid and we need more room, or we want to buy a dog, or I just got a promotion. Let's get rid of this condo and go buy a townhome or a little starter home or whatever is next in their world and they can afford. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I just kept in contact with this person. And instead of making my like $3,000 commission on this little condo, now I'm selling that and helping them buy a nice house. And then you're going to help them sell that house and buy another house. And then all of a sudden they're going to invest in real estate. And so like one person is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over the lifetime of that lead. Not even to mention the referral business that they could give you. And so a lot of the time, I think like. When I call a friend, I have this, I have this really good friend, he was like a roommate. He just called me about trying to get into a rental property. The property manager, Samantha upstairs, if you ever guys work with investors, she's great to help out. But she called me and she's like, hey, your friend just applied and he might win an award for the worst credit I've ever seen. I call him every single quarter and ask him about real estate because I know that he is a fan of mine and that if I ever come up in conversation, he'll send me referrals. And one day he's gonna have better credit, fingers crossed, and he will buy a house. Or, I don't know, maybe he has a rich aunt that's gonna leave him a bunch of money, he'll wanna buy a house in cash. Like, there's a lot of hope, so you never know.
Oh, man.
So I want to think about your sphere, your friends and family. Who are the people that are likely to buy? Like, let's think like a marketer right now. Who's your target demographic to buy or sell a house? What are they like?
Kids, they got families.
Kids, families. And that could be different for everyone, right? Matt on Zoom might have a very different sphere than both of you. Like Hunter that was just in here, just graduated college. He's not gonna have the kids and families, friends. He's gonna have the, hey, I want to build a rental empire. Can I house hack my way up? Those
Right,
kind of friends.
right.
But so yeah, friends,
And I
families.
have friends like that too, but initially like the guy that went up to Three Falls yesterday,
Mhm.
he's an investor, he's just bought 2 investment properties, and he's like, I'm Danny, let's go get sushi.
Yeah,
So we were spend the day together. Cause he's my first, that was like my first real meeting as a realtor, like, cool, that's my dude.
yeah,
And so he knows so many people that I know, that know so many people that he knows that they know, and I said, holy matrons.
yeah.
So, got what I was saying.
But yeah, so like
For-
that,
That demographic is.
Yep,
I've got those
so-
types of friends, and then friends that are like, we've got a family and we've got kids.
so if you were to like drill down into that, like think, how do you attract more people like that? Like, what's your marketing, what's your message? And do you want to attract people like that? Right? Like Hunter trying to attract as many people to house hack as possible. Like, I don't know, maybe it's a great business strategy for him now when he's young. But come like 10 years from now, like, are those people gonna be in a better situation buying better houses? Or is he just always gonna help the house hackers and get like the smallest commissions forever? And that's gonna be his little like
You want
niche.
to know the truth of what I think of? So I think of my friends that own houses right now. Like, I have a few friends that just own houses.
Mhm,
And these friends that I'm thinking of have so many friends. They're a little bit younger than me. And these friends are ready to buy homes.
mhm,
And so for me, I think about my friends that have kids and that need homes as well, but then there's just also a set of friends that have homes, that have friends that will need homes that they don't have their real estate license. They know that I do now, that I feel like I have a good, like, there's leverage that.
yep. So that becomes your target market.
Yeah.
Right? We're thinking like a marketer, and we could probably even drill that down more, like if an actual marketer was in here, like someone that got their marketing degree, they would probably judge us on how we just define that.
Yeah.
But we can define that better and try to find more people like that, right? And then the next thing is, how do you ensure that your sphere will refer you business with that? Because that's really hard. Like, you have these friends that have these friends that should be buying homes. How do you know that you're gonna get that business? And it's really hard. Step number one is to stay top of mind, right? Like, all of the marketing that you're doing, all of this prospecting, it will help. If you reach out to someone and have a great relationship with them often, like if you call them 4 times a year, if you invite them to the events and see them every once in a while, maybe do like a lunch or hang out with them a couple times a year, they're more likely to refer you business because they're thinking of you. The other thing is, you need to teach people how to refer you. My aunt used to always tell me like, oh yeah, I've given out your cards so many times and tell everyone to call you. Do you know how many people called me? 0. Not a single person. She was a waitress and she asked for like a stack of my cards. I gave her more business cards than I have given out in 10 years. And she told me that she needed more kind of a thing. She would pass them out like crazy. No one ever seemed to call me. And the reason is because I never taught her how to refer me business. If I would have said, hey, why don't you get their information? Then I would have called them 100% of the time. I wouldn't have dropped the ball on a single lead. But they dropped the ball on me and there was nothing I could do about it. So the best thing to do is teach your sphere how to refer someone. So you can say something easy as like, hey, if you ever know anyone looking to buy or sell, why don't you just add us all in a group text message? And that way I can connect with them really easy.
Like when you refer me, have me.
Yeah. So like, yeah, if they're like, oh yeah, I have a buddy who's thinking about buying, let me reach out to him. I'll say something like, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you text him and just kind of introduce me? Like put us all together in a group message. And then if he doesn't want to actually buy, or if he's already taken care of, like, I don't want to work hard for money I'm not going to make, so I'm not going to bug him. So why don't you just connect us? And so little things like that just help you get the referrals from the people, but no one knows. Then the other step is you can reward that behavior. Because you can't say, hey, if you give me a referral, I'll give you a gift card for $25. But you can say, hey, you just gave me a referral. I'm going to do what I always do and give you $25.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. It's that you can't ask them to refer you business for money, but you can say, because you referred me, I'm giving you money. And there's some limit. I can't remember what it is, $250. I wouldn't spend more than like $10, $25 on a referral. Maybe when something closes, you can give them another little thank you.
Yeah.
But you want to reward the referral behavior, not the closing behavior, because they don't have a hand in that. Get reviews. We're gonna kind of skip over that. Okay, communicate with your database. To succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with a database with the intent of building close relationships. So I could have underlined frequent contact, which is important. But I think the more important is the intent of building close relationships. So the first thing that everyone always asks when I say, hey, you should call your database is, what should I say? This is my answer. What will build a relationship with you? And you should probably mention you're in real estate.
So. Like, my friend yesterday made a good point. He's like, I don't want to spend my time with superficial people that are not going to get anywhere, but and it's just fun in the moment. And then,
Yep.
So the intent of building close relationships with a purpose, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I didn't just want to go and hang out with Danny and eat sushi there. There's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to meet with Danny because he invests in property and he's a savvy dude, he's smart. And he's.
Well, I was gonna say, you mentioned a few things there, right? He is your friend, so you would probably just go to sushi with him just to hang out.
Yeah, I would.
And then you spent the rest of the day because he's savvy, he wants to invest, like, those are things that you're looking, and you'll probably make money and he'll make money, like, it's a win all the way around.
We talked about that. How
Yeah.
It's like, we're not really just hang out, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Let's work and let's build something together. And then we made that connection. That was easy to make that connection with Danny because he's that kind of guy, you know?
Yeah.
I'm curious as to how you pursue relationships like that without blowing a lot of smoke and wasting a lot of time. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I'm there too, because I have, this friend I mentioned before, I'm working with, she really just wanted to get close to me and be my friend, and I'm like, I have my friends, and I don't have time in my life for another close friend. But now it's like, well, I need to spend more time with you because of real estate, but she's also been working with another agent. She's like, I want to work with both of you and see who can find me the best house. And I'm like, am I wasting my time and spinning my wheels? Like spending all this time with her? Yeah, same question, it's like, how do
Yeah,
you
well-
judge how much time and how close to let someone into your life?
Straight line.
Yeah, so. It's funny, I tend to tell people I wanna hang out a lot, and I'm always sincere about it. Like, when I see people, I'm like, man, I haven't seen you in like 5 years. This is so cool. Let's hang out. And then we never do. Like, it was never a line like, oh, hey, let's hang out, and then never do. It's just like, I even have like multiple text message conversations where we're going back and forth. Like, oh, can you do something this week? No. How about next week? Yeah, let's connect. And then like a month later, we're like, we never connected, kind of a thing. Like, and I think that that's fine. Like, you don't need to be best friends with everyone. Like, I often think of like a dentist or a doctor. Like, you can have a very professional relationship with them. Like, the quote didn't say to be best friends or to like each other a whole lot. Like, it's to build a relationship. That relationship can be whatever you want it to be. And so some, it might be like a best friend type relationship, and others, it might be a very professional working relationship. And that's fine. So like, what do you want the relationship to be, and how are you gonna build upon that? Like, maybe it's you get good at building these professional relationships with investor type people. And so it would be weird for you to like hang out and like meet each other's families. But if you go to dinner and talk business, that like feels normal. Like, so you can have those kind of relationships as well.
That's like exactly what it is. What
Yeah,
you just get stoked and like beat off each other, and then it's like, yeah, let's go, let's get it, let's go, you know.
yeah,
And then boom, I don't want to pass the stage. It's like playing video games, and hanging out with the homies.
yeah, yeah. I have a lot of friends that I want to be in business with, and that's the relationship I want to be in with them. And then I have other friends that I would never do business with them, but man, are they fun when we're just chilling, you know?
Right, exactly.
Like, I want to get your family and my family together and go on vacation. And then other people are, it's like, let's me and you go to this marketing conference together, you know?
Yeah.
And one I'm gonna make money with and one I'm gonna spend money with, and I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And so you can have different relationships with every single person. I wouldn't worry too much about trying to define all of that, because then you almost feel like you're limiting yourself. You're like, ah, you're my
Yeah,
professional
right,
friend.
yeah.
I'm never gonna meet your family,
Right.
and I don't want to know anything about them, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like, just keep it open, and I feel like us talking about it is almost like thinking about it too much, you know?
Yeah, I get really analytical and I start to like overthink stuff. That's part of my personality.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do see myself targeting just like, I think about my sister and my brothers, and they've got families and kids, and like they're in that market that they're looking right now.
Mhm.
So, and I've got plenty of relationships like that I feel like is more my bread and butter, you know?
I know a lot of never married, no kids, singles, you know,
Mhm.
who are not best friends.
Well, so this is perfect. So this is what Gary Keller says, that you should segment your database. And he says based on interest, passion, etc. You can group different people in different ways and market to them differently. So it just says communicate systematically, but that could be however you want. So their example is like, okay, so I have these 3 different people, and the tags are maybe VIP and golf, military investor, referral, and dog lover. So then what you could do is each of these people can get a different type of message to them. I think these are weird tags. I mean, maybe like referral, investor, military, VIP, those sound right. Golf and dog lover seem like the weirdest to me. Mine are like, you own a home. That is a tag. You're a homeowner. I am going to tell you something different about the market when you ask me if you are a homeowner. If you're a first-time home buyer, AKA a renter, you don't own a home, I'm going to tell you something very different when you're like, hey, how's the market right now? Be like, it is still a seller's market, even though home prices have come down and interest rates are really high. I can see a scenario where home prices go up in the next 6 months. That could be a very real thing. Hunter, just before this class, was telling me he bid $40,000 over the asking price, had an escalation clause and lost the offer
Recently,
Why?
so we're going.
yesterday.
back into that.
Yesterday this happened.
Yesterday, something else that we're going back in multiple offers.
So in terms of talking to a buyer, that could be the conversation. We need to get aggressive. I think home prices are gonna go up, which means if interest rates go down, home prices are gonna go crazy and you can refinance. You're probably great. Also, if you buy this house long-term, who cares what home prices do? Because even in 2008, when they went to the worst, they were back within, I think it was 4 years.
Yeah.
Are you gonna live here for 4 years? Yes, then you're safe. Out of state. I don't want to share my Utah stats with them, but I definitely want to market to them. Out of state people are my favorite. You know why? You do zero work. When someone is like, oh yeah, I'm moving to this other state. I love it. Let me connect you with my favorite agent there. And then just like we were talking about,
Yeah.
you go on command and you can look up who are the best agents in that area. You can call them. You can be like, I have a referral from you. I'm gonna send it. They're like, I love it. I'll pay you 25%. The best is when they move somewhere like California where home prices are like $1 million. You get like a $25,000 commission and you're just walking on air. I love this. We had a guy on our team. He referred 3 transactions to California in the same month. He made $30,000 in 1 month off of referrals. He did zero work. The year before that, he made $18,000 in real estate. He legit quit and went and started to flip houses because that was more money than he'd seen in his life. I told him he was dumb, but whatever. So you can come up with whatever tags you want, and then you can segment this. So they say, take that same newsletter that you were going to send out, but then do something a little bit different, right? If you're a dog lover, you could send them a whole bunch of low-cost vaccination sites or pet services. If you're into golf, talk about the new golf course. So you could segment and discuss people however you want, or you can send one generic newsletter to all of them. Or even better, like if I were to do, oh no, I forgot which way I'm going. Okay. Homeowners, why it is great to keep your house and buy an investment. I'm going to turn these homeowners into investors. Investors, I'm going to send, hey, I just found these 3 great deals that I think someone should jump on this week. And those are very different emails, but to different groups of people that would speak to them. Then they would care about the newsletter. Communicate with value. So there's 3 different plans. We kind of talked about this 36 touch here. So when you get a lead, they call it 19 to connect. I wouldn't write this down. I would just go crazy and call them a whole lot. Call, text, kind of a thing for a year. If you get a lead and you can't get a hold of them, like call them a whole bunch for a week. And then if you don't, like call and text for a year. If you don't get a hold of them, they're not a real person or they don't care. There's 1 to cement. This is how you take a lead to a contact, is give them something of high value that helps them trust you. I don't know why they just don't write in here. Go on an appointment. That's what it is. Because how do you solidify the relationship, establish and open the door for future interactions? You say, come to my office, let's look at houses and decide what you're looking to buy. You meet them, they meet you. 75% of people that meet with an agent end up closing with that same agent. If you are the first, you will win.
It's something like they only, most people talk to this one or two.
One.
on the-
It's like 75% talk to 1, and then like 20% or something talk to 2. And yeah, and it's crazy to think of that because like Dave Ramsey has a endorsed local providers, he calls it EOPs. He sends 3 real estate agents to them. So every single Dave Ramsey lead gets 3 agents. There's a lot of other sites that are like that, and there's still most people meet with 1 agent.
My God,
So if you can meet with people, you're probably set.
crazy, man.
I would meet with people way too early, way too often right now, because you guys aren't busy drowning in deals. You're not trying to shuffle your schedules around to try to work with 10 buyers unless you're awesome. Yeah,
Favorite day, I'm not doing install things, and I got somebody's like, hey, can you be my realtor? I'm like, yes.
Yep. That's the problem you want to have. And so until you're like drowning in business, I just meet with people. Hey, I'm 6 months out. That's fine. Why don't we sit down? We'll make a plan. And I can get to know you. You can get to know me. I'll answer all your questions. Why don't you pop in my office for 30 minutes? Sound good? Or, hey, I'm looking to sell my house probably in the next year or so. Hey, why don't I stop by, tell you what all the buyers are interested, so you can work on any of these little projects over the next year. And then I can just keep in touch with you. Because you know what happens every single time? They have the saying, buyers are liars and sellers are too. And the reason they say that is if someone says, I'm gonna buy a house in 6 months, do you know when they're gonna buy a house? It's never gonna be 6 months. No one is ever right. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's never, sometimes it's next week. And so you never know. And so the rule of thumb everyone always says is like, oh, if they say 6 months, you call them in 3 months. But what about the people that buy next week? Like, I've seen that happen before. And so I default, like, let's meet up. Worst case scenario, I'm 6 months too early.
Okay, what was your line? You said, come to my office and let's talk, like, well, I'm talking about a buyer.
Um,
About what you're looking for. How did you say
Yeah,
that?
how did I say that? I just ramble on. Come to my office, let's meet up, we can put a game plan together. And I can answer all of your questions. Then, so do some sort of plan to get them connected. By the way, in Command, these are built out. Like there's 19 to connect and 36 to connect. So you can literally hit one button and it will like add this whole plan, this idea. It will not send out the direct mail kind of a thing, and it won't talk about an event, but it will give you quarterly phone calls and emails that go out automatically. Also, I don't like to invite leads to parties like Keller Splash. What is it, like $7 a person or 6? Yeah. So if you don't know someone, do you want to pay $6 for them and then $6 for all of their kids to come swim? Probably not. Like, I'm going to spend that money on the people that I know, like, and trust and think will do business with me. So I'm not going to spend money on leads. I mean, if you have some sort of free event, you know, like we do an Easter egg hunt on our team, for us to add 100 people more in, it means nothing. So we're going to invite like 100 of our best leads that we haven't met. That's fine. But I'm not going to spend $600 more on those people. All right, so database, smart database, the data bank, where we're cashing checks. It moves from your contacts to an actual database you're working with to a plan out. We are getting purposeful with what we do. So we're doing great. You guys have a list of people, even if it's just 4. We are going to make phone calls to them right now. This was a trick. I had you write down your database. So Matt, I'm trusting you're going to do this too. The people you wrote down, I want you to call.
In the middle of the day,
Right now, we are going to literally pause the class. Let's talk about this. What do you want to say?
talk to them a while.
So here's my hack on calling people. You need an excuse, but they don't. So if it makes you feel better, you can use me as the excuse. Hey, you know, I just got into real estate. I would say that even if they don't know. Hey, I just got into real estate, like, you know. I am in this class and the teacher is making me call you.
So the way that I usually handle it is, I just call and start talking, be like, what's been happening in your life? And then they'll be like, Casey, what's been happening in your life? I'm like, oh my gosh, I just got into real estate, I got my
Yep.
license to go, and like, so excited and so amazing, and I work for the #1 brokerage in the state, and like, I'm learning so much cool stuff, and you know, they're like, wow, cool. So what's the market like? And I can tell them.
Yeah, so
I
easy,
think
right?
I feel like, I know you're supposed to use scripts, I know you're supposed to call people, but I don't even approach it that way,
No,
you know? I'm just like.
I literally give myself an excuse on why I'm calling someone. And then I reach out and I say whatever I want. Sometimes I will print off a script, like our team will have like call days and we will print off a script that everyone is supposed to say. I print it off, I practice it, and then I never use it. Okay, are we ready or do you guys still have some worries? Hit me with all of your excuses. Jake is ready to go.
This guy
Okay.
Likes me, I don't want to go on a date with him.
Hey, I'm calling you for business right now.
Okay. Actually, with him, I could do that. I could be like, hey, I'm practicing. You know, I'm in my real estate class right now and I'm practicing calling people.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Now, the whole goal, there's two goals that you should have here. Well, I guess a third, if you could set an appointment would be number 3. But the first two, number 1 is build the relationship. And make that a little bit professional so they know you're in real estate. If you have a conversation and you don't mention that you're in real estate, that is only okay for the very first call. Second call should never happen that way. Like they should know you're in real estate. But sometimes you're like, ooh, I haven't talked to this person in a decade. Maybe it's okay to just be like, what's going on, and hope that they do that whole reciprocity type idea where you say, where are you working? And then like, where are you working? And then I'm in real estate. Everyone's interested in real estate, so then they'll ask you questions on it. The second thing is to get referrals. Your whole goal of this is to get more business. So number 1, build the relationship. Number 2, move your business forward. And that might be get referrals, get their contact information better, or set an appointment. Relationships, move the business forward. Are you ready? Okay, how about 10 minutes? So 11:05, we'll meet back. Go over how it went. Ghostbusters. Matt, I want you to do it too. Hopefully you're still there, still paying attention.
like with some people. It's easier to text and be like, hey.
Yep.
It'd be really cool to connect with you.
I agree.
This guy's an attorney.
Uh-huh.
And he's not gonna want to talk to me in the day.
Yep.
And so. Like, hey, if we can catch up later than it's you. You know, and I probably should do some research, look on Facebook, see what it's like, hey, I saw your kids graduating from high school, so. You know, congrats, and you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm not ready for that.
But here's my problem. This is just a challenge. The whole goal right now is to just get you over how scary it is. So you're not allowed to do any of that right now.
I'm gonna take a walk and make my call.
Okay, stay down here, down in the, I mean, there's a crowd here, Matt, so, I mean, it's gonna get loud.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
My problem is I post on Facebook every day and I have a huge following, so everybody knows what's happening in my life all the time and I don't pay attention to their lives. So I have to look and see what's going on, or I sound like an idiot, right?
Wait, because what if you call him right now and he doesn't answer?
Well,
Because it sounds like he probably won't, right?
I'm gonna call somebody else. I need to-
So in theory, I'm not against texting. I'm not against looking them up real quick before the phone calls. But calls are better than texts at building the relationship. So we're gonna do that today. And looking them up before you call is usually a distractor. I cannot tell you how many times I got on Facebook to look up something and I forgot what I looked up on, and then down the road, I call it stalkerazzi, where I'm just looking through someone else's pictures.
Stop.
Yeah. And I'm like 3 years back, like judging them on their life choices and things like that. And I don't even remember why I'm on Facebook. And then I get back to my phone. I was like, oh yeah, I was gonna call them.
Right. Hey, is there Wi-Fi?
Oh yeah, it should just be the KW one.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
it's
there's like 3 of them though.
do.
KW guest,
Yes.
KW system, K and Keller Williams.
Sue Keller Williams. And then it's let KWN 99, so it's a capital L and let capital K, capital W in 99, I think.
I'm not nervous.
Hey, what are you doing on your computer?
She went to Europe, so I have to ask her about that. How's your trip to Europe? There's something,
See, you already have too much information.
I haven't had a conversation started, and I act like I've been paying attention to her life, I haven't. But she looks at everything.
FaceTime.
Ooh, we're going intense. You're over there Facebooking these.
Well, it's an answer.
I used to make the first phone call in front of people.
Well, that's fine.
And one time I called someone and I was literally on speakerphone in like a class of like 15 people. It's like, what's up, man? He's like, I literally just got let go from my job like 10 minutes ago. And I was like, oh shoot, maybe I shouldn't do this in front of a group of people. Okay. Look, we've already wasted 5 minutes talking. That's the
And I
problem
recall
with real estate.
Down.
You guys, if you want to do business, be like Rich. See, he's on the phone talking to his people. Rich knows how to do it. Remember, this is the weak ties principle. You're calling and you're asking for a job, AKA find some more business.
She's a weak Friday.
Am I asking for referrals?
Sure. See if they need help with real estate.
These things are like Jake calling me right now. He never calls.
Yeah. But everyone thinks.
Come on, bro. Oh, she's at a doctor's appointment.
You in here?
Do it. We want to all hear.
Hey, Jen, it's Jen. How are you? Great. I was just thinking about you starting calling like catch up. What are you up to? Yeah, sounds busy. Where are you? Oh, nice. What age do you coach? Gosh, that's so cool. Just got my real estate license, so I'm just crazy excited. Having fun with that. And yeah, so it's super fun. I just spend with my tail off and having a blast. And then, yeah, my ex is getting married, so that's been crazy. Yeah. You know, have you been through that? Okay, whoa, so that's all. Yeah. No, it's, I mean, there's probably, you know, like, just dealing with it, I mean, something I can handle, but I'm not gonna this to be awesome. She's like, yeah, you're pretty, just have to realize that the person you're married to, it's like, he's dead now. And the person who's your friend after the marriage is dead now. And now you want to bring you in, and I'm like, okay, I can work with that, so. But yeah, just, it's been interesting, just being super busy with real estate and then trying to manage that and be a single mom, because he doesn't really want to see like kids anymore, I love kids. So he turned my oldest students, got it, convinced him to drop out of high school and go to junior, move in with him so he could put the child support, and then he doesn't really want to see the younger two. So it's like crazy, so I was like, I'm just gonna turn myself into real estate and just focus on that, and it's actually helped. Because it actually makes me really happy, probably like gymnastics for you. But. Sure. Yeah. But. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. That's, yeah. That's a good example of another direction, right? Yeah, totally. So, okay, do you go country dancing? Yeah.
Like I'm gonna know all the friends.
Oh, really? Okay.
I can get a hold of one person.
You should come with me, because I go almost Friday night at Sargent Springs, one. Country dancing is like the last today. I love it. It's a great crowd. Yeah, we should do it. Yeah, so anyway, I was just thinking about you, I'm like, that one time we went dancing, you were so fun, and you told me it was like the first dance I went to when I was single, and I'm like, I don't know, I've been dancing for 17 years, and I feel so awkward, but you're like, just. And now I was just thinking about you because I love dancing now, and I'm like, okay, Jen totally got me into this, Yeah. Yeah, that would be so fun. We should do that. Okay, so I mean, today's Friday, so I normally go almost every Friday, but today I'm getting like my healing and the chemical pieces. But maybe next weekend. But yeah.
Well, everybody working it. That's fine. Let's keep trying.
I'm a fan of shooting texts out, and people don't answer.
Yeah, people always hit my text back.
Yeah.
They're not used to me calling like that.
Yeah,
So it's probably like,
I know,
What's going
seriously.
on?
yeah, some people will answer like, why are you calling me?
but I'll pseudo text because like I hit up a lot of my sphere,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, dude, what's up?
Okay,
I have questions for you.
yes, I may be
Wait,
wrong.
wait, what's your last name?
Well, Housen Smith, I don't know, I'm about to change it to Smith, but it's technically Housen right now. On Facebook, I'm Smith. Jenna Smith, fine.
I had like 5 roommates one time. They were all obsessed with country dancing. And they're all probably in their 40s and single. So it sounds like everyone you know. But we're not mutual friends with any of them, so.
Same. So yeah, did you find me, Jenna? Smith?
Yep, I think so. I added someone as a friend named Jenna Smith, so hopefully it was you. How long did that phone call take?
5 minutes? a little similar.
So easy.
Yeah, and I totally connected. I brought up.
Yep.
I brought up real estate a
Yep.
couple of times, but I'm like, that's not my focus. I'm here to be your friend and let's connect.
Yep.
On a deeper level.
Yep.
Is that
So,
okay how I do
yep,
that?
on her end, she 100% knows you're in real estate. You mentioned it a couple of times. And I don't think she feels like you're just trying to sell her real estate. You are building the relationship. And your way, that relationship was the friend relationship, right? So very different than the professional relationship where we talked about that you could say, hey, I'm looking to help 5 people this month. Who do you know looking to buy
Yeah,
or
see,
sell?
there's stuff
And
like that, but this is how I do it. It's
Mhm.
how I do it on social media, it's how I do it in person when I go to parties and dances and stuff. I talk to every single person, every single time about real estate. And I post almost like 95% of what I post has real estate involved in it. But then I have some type of life story that people are like, you know, like get their heartstrings, right?
yep,
So that's how I do it. I'm never direct about it, but I always have it in there.
and some people are direct.
Yeah.
And so it's all finding like, how do you communicate with your sphere like you?
Yeah.
Because then it comes off very real, very genuine. And it's not that salesy.
Yeah.
You know, where I imagine like Shoni, I could imagine Shoni calling me and being like, hey man, I just got into real estate.
Yeah.
I think it's a great time to buy a house. Like, are you interested in investing?
Yeah.
Like, that would be like a Shoni type conversation that I would imagine he would have and he would have success with.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's your personality and what's your message? And how are you gonna deliver that to them? And at the same time, look at where they're at and how they can receive something like that. Right? Because if Shoni had a phone call like that with someone that just graduated college, has a whole bunch of debt, has never been good with money, just filed for bankruptcy, it's not like a, hey, you should buy a house right now. But like, hey, let's get you on a plan. And so there's the two things, like segment your database to know how to communicate with it, and then be you as you're communicating with it.
Yeah. Shoni is a lot more like my style. We literally have almost like the identical work history. We both worked for progression. We both sold door to door, like internet and
Uh-huh.
TV and stuff, and like travel all over.
Yep. So I imagine if people would have answered your phone calls, your conversations would have been like the exact opposites, and neither would have been wrong.
So it's
Which is,
okay, but,
yep,
okay,
you got to do you.
I love the way that I'm doing this, and I have tons of people talking to me about real estate all the time.
Then why would you even change that? Like,
Exactly.
Yep.
That's why I should do it.
Nope,
Okay, so
I have never used a script that they have done in the book.
what I started to do just now was, I'm gonna take 2 minutes and see what she's been up to. I didn't bring up Europe because I didn't need to.
Uh-huh.
Because I should be like, it's been a while since I've been in Europe. But I brought up, what he went up to, she's a gymnastics coach, so I'm like, I flashed onto that and showed interest in that, and then she's like, what are you up to? I'm like, let's say, I'm gonna pull her heartstrings in, right?
Mhm,
Every single time, I'm gonna be vulnerable, and people actually love me because I'm really vulnerable.
mhm.
So I don't know if that's like, right, but it was.
You do you. Don't overanalyze.
I do something to be vulnerable, and then people are like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I'm gonna go there with you and feel you and support you because you're being vulnerable. And then I'm like, I wanted an actual purpose besides real estate for calling her, so I'm like, I'm gonna talk to her about dancing because she's the first person. The first time I went to this singles conference when I was first single, and I was so shy, and I only got a single person.
Don't take it. Do it. Yeah. You built the relationship,
Caesar, what's up, man?
even in, it took you 5 minutes. And
Dude, I'm doing really good.
that's the thing, is you built the relationship in 5
literally sitting
minutes.
in a class right now. And
So,
for
that was
Keller
awesome.
Williams, KW Westville. And they're putting us on the spot, and I just picked my phone up and I was like, who's online right now? Who can I talk to? And you're the man, dog. So,
Hey, Matt, are you still
helping-
here?
Yeah, I'm helping people get homes, so I know how influential
lost
you
you.
are. So I thought I'd let you know
Well, maybe.
firsthand that I'm here to help. If you guys have any questions or especially we're trying to help.
Oh, Matt's not here, but we have Alicia and Julie. Did you guys
anybody
make
that
calls?
needs help, You can always send them my way. That's what- Hey.
Hey, so Jenna, what's your big aha making these calls? Or the,
Oh, dude, I love you, man. Love you, dude.
Yep.
You're awesome. Oh, man. Well,
What-
listen, dude,
what
I don't wanna waste your
doing
time,
this
but I
process
just wanted to, keep,
I
you
don't.
keep me posted if you have any questions or if anything comes up, say that you're a good man.
Sales is very
Mm.
And I would have.
Yeah,
people-
and say hi to
you know,
Alex.
my-
and his-
My
if you
team,
have
like,
Alex,
Alex, but
he
she
gets
doesn't want
divorced.
script. I get on there and I tell them the script, but I'm like, yeah, we don't work on it, like, you know, and today we're just talking about this and I talk in totally different language, like. Oh, thank you. That person, not a
Yeah,
robot.
dude,
Yeah.
I just saw you told you created a brand, so I was gonna call him Tina,
This,
but I
and
just
can do
noticed that you
this.
had a nice
There's no
Facebook
way anybody's gonna think I'm.
profile,
Yeah.
so I just was curious, I was gonna reach out. to him.
Yep. Yep.
Because I feel like I can
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. Dude,
You
he's
have to
so-
force
he's such a
yourself to do
star,
lead generation. It's
So
gonna be
awesome.
But if you can just be
Yeah,
you and talk to
he's
your
awesome.
friends, you're gonna crush it.
Well, dude, I appreciate it, man. It's calling me back, man. It's just, we gotta catch up sometime and, I was just thinking about you, so like I said, I wanted to.
Yeah.
To, just let you know what's going on, man. If you have questions, please reach out to me, okay? Yeah, you're awesome, Steve. We'll talk to you later, man. Okay, bro.
I was talking to this old man, it's been a week.
People call you back.
Nice compliments.
Good.
Dude, you're gonna kill it at this. You got that great personality. People love you. Got that $1 million smile. Like, stop it. Stop, man. Please. He's all business that way. Stays there. Whereas his family is like awesome. I've been friends with them since high school.
So. These seem like easier calls for you guys, right? The challenge is when we're gonna get into the harder phone calls, you know, like as you're trying to get to that 200 people, there's gonna be some more challenges. I would say. Jump in. Rather than like try to figure out your way in.
Okay.
Because the worst case scenario that could possibly happen is if like you're gonna call someone you haven't talked to in a decade and you call them and they hate every minute of it, then you just delete them from your database. And you never have to talk to that person again. If it did not go poorly, you keep them in your database and you call them again in a quarter.
I'm weird, man. Like I literally, I know you've got. Social media, I don't really do social media that much at all. I just don't spend time with it. And literally because I had so many people on my Facebook and I just got so tired of seeing like all their.
Yep.
And so I went and just weeded it out. I was like, we're not really friends. Like, we're not, why are we even here? Where's this? So now I've got it narrowed down to where it's like, I've got, 300 people. I'm like, oh, I know you, I know you, I know you, I know you, I know you. I like, I love these people. Like, you kind of heard how I talk to my friends.
Yeah,
And those are, that's all I want to be associated with. So it's, my struggle is to get deeper into social media because I've always been like, good with that.
so you don't have to. That's a good thing. Like the whole idea of these calls, like you're being yourselves, you can do that same thing in business. There's 1,000 ways to go and generate more that you can just be you. So, for example, I have posted 3 times in the last 5 years. I have had 2 children in that time.
Dude, you're
I've
legend.
been to Spain. I ran a Spartan. I did a
I like you,
half
man.
marathon. And I have 3 posts.
Didn't post any of it.
didn't I post my two kids?
Zero, man.
And then I thought, man, so many people engaged, and I actually got a referral after I posted with my last child, and I was like, maybe I should do that again. And so I posted a random thing and I was like, no, I hated that. Like, I had to come up with a caption and that I didn't even like,
Hashtag.
and yeah, like, this isn't me.
Right, but my sister, Jenna, my sister is just like you, she's got like all these,
Yep.
like, how did you become so popular? Like. All these followers, and then she's created a business, she reaches out to them, so I definitely see the value
I think it's just,
of that.
everybody does it a different way. We're
Yep.
like total opposites in our phone calls, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's what's cool, is that we're not even in competition, because we handle things differently,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, you guys will probably never call the same lead ever. And I hardly ever run into that with anyone else in the brokerage. Because everyone's different, everyone knows everyone different, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we've kind of, and I jumped past this, but we built the database, we fed it every day, we systematically communicate with it, and now we're servicing all of the leads. So Gary Keller says, your job is to build a community and serve the community. So your community is your database. You should kind of be like, gosh, what's that book? It's like a guy. There's someone that talks about tribes. Seth Godin has a book of that. I've never read it, but you should be like your tribe's
I know
leader.
what you're
Like,
talking about.
yeah, like that's the community. Like, all of these people are now your community. And when you want to add more people to your community, you figure out how you can go do that, either through prospecting or marketing to add more and build up a bigger community. And then your whole idea is you just want to get raving fans because you give them great service, you give them a bunch of value, and then they will come back to you consistently, and they will want their friends to come into this community because you're doing such a good job with them that all of a sudden you turn around and you're like, I don't feel like I'm really working. Do you guys know Clay Winder or Heather Groom? So they're two of the top producing agents. Clay Winder is on the Red Sign team. He started it. He closes like 50 to 60 deals every single year. Heather Groom is newer in the brokerage and she does about the same amount of business. And if you were to ask them, I don't think either of them would say that they prospect. But if you go to see either of them, almost guaranteed they're on the phone. Like, they are serving their community. They just don't feel like they're prospecting.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, if you haven't met them, you'll love them both because they're so nice and friendly. And you'll be like, oh, yeah. And so their whole thing is they're just serving their community and they don't even realize it because that's their natural state. And so it just feels normal for them to do that. But that's really the whole idea. And so it's plan on some follow-up, service all the leads. So in Command, it has opportunity command and then even a consumer app to help you do that. Really, to me, it's your side of it. So putting notes in the contact and adding them to smart plans so that the people that you don't know can be the people that you do know. And then that's what I feel like built that community. That's it is a plan. There's a bunch of pre-built ones out there so you can see it, but you can literally click a button and it sends them either emails, texts, or adds you a task to call them. So for example, there is a quarterly call plan. And so you could go to these people that you just called and add them to the quarterly call plan, and it will give you a reminder 90 days from now to call them again. Or you can follow this DTD2 plan and say, how many weeks are we into this year? So we're like 7 weeks into this quarter. That's who I'm gonna call. So 7 weeks into the second quarter, you'll call them again. 7 weeks into the third quarter, you'll call them. It seems very random, but it's not. And
Then
so,
we'll track all of that as well for us, and it'll just.
yep, you can even pull up a list of people you haven't called in a while and move and start calling them. The goal is to do it at least 4 times a year. If you do less or if you've been bad at it, nobody knows. And so it's not like one of those things like, I haven't called this person in the last 3 calls. I've been putting it off. I'm not going to call them. You can call them at any time, at any point, because there's There's no formula for the relationship building. We just were staying top of mind, so we're saying at least 4 phone calls. Get help, blah, blah. Okay, what's your big ahas for the day?
It's, I think that it's. Still, the challenge is there, but it's not as. Scary, like calling people, and especially after knocking doors for as long as I have, like. Just making a call to like a buddy that I know he like cares so much about me and like. He wants me to succeed, and I want the same for him too, like he feels that way when we text or talk, I think that that's all it's about is like. Transferring that energy so that they do think about you, and then this. Like the Chinese water trip is throughout the year.
Mhm. Yeah, it's almost like they're gonna be like, man, you're everywhere. I'm seeing you all over the place.
Like,
Mhm.
I just like every time I log in, I'm like, he's on it, like. Just so surprised because his level of success is like so crazy, and then he still does the basics.
Mhm.
Like the fundamentals never, they're still there.
Yep,
So it's. a lot.
all the biggest businesses are built on just these fundamentals.
Yeah,
You don't have to get creative or crazy. You just have to talk to a bunch of people.
yeah, I was nervous, man. Feel a lot better.
Good.
I feel way better because I have permission to do this the way I want to do it. And I feel like I'm gonna adapt. Like it's okay for me to learn what y'all teach and then adapt it to the way I do it. Because I am already being successful, there's proof of that. And so I do need to call people. Before I was like, I don't want to call people. Because like I have this friend who called me yesterday. She's like, she calls me twice a year or something. And she wants me to be in this multi-level marketing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I'm so not interested, right?
Mhm.
But this time I was like, sure, I'll talk to you because I'm gonna let you know about real estate.
Yep, you're gonna do the same right back at her.
Yep, right back at you. And so I scheduled it in and I said, let's talk at 3 o'clock. And so I talked to her and I know about real estate and everything. We caught up with her and she, she's like, setting me up on a date too, but yeah, and like. Anyway, back to what I was saying, like. Huge aha for me is I don't have to force myself to be this. What you're doing, which is awesome that works for you, but try the things that totally okay.
Yeah.
So Keller Williams, the biggest thing, and you should look through this in all of the training is the models. Like Gary Keller is very big into like, what's the model? And so like, even when I put up on the screen, like the 19 to connect, the 1 to cement, the 36 touch, those are models that work. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to do exactly that. It is more of like a framework for how you should do it. Model. 36 touch, 19 to connect, that's just trying to get a hold of people. And that's Gary Keller's way. The other model is called the 10 days of pain. Or 21 days of gain is also one. There's a 4 days of love. So there's all these different models and people give them these fancy names and how to get in contact with people, but they're all basically the same. Reach out to them until you get a hold of them. That's it. If someone gives you a referral, just don't stop calling until you get a hold of them. Text them, call them, email them, however you have them. And you can get more creative and more automatic as you start to get into like Facebook leads and Google leads and things like that, because you're not going to have the time and energy to go market to them and reach out to them the same that you can. But when you're getting a handful of deals a month or potential deals a month, you have the time to just reach out consistently. So I would worry less about that and just stay top of mind by contacting your people as much as you can.
And I use Facebook for that every day.
Mhm.
I've
Use
got-
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like for instance, Spread Day yesterday,
Look
I've
at that.
got, this, I've, seen that, but
Yeah.
it's like my little son and I. And I'm like, yeah, we're just preventing fires, and the other part of my story says that, Red Cross Service Day, Keller Williams Realtors,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my oh, he's loving it, everything. And then, I say this, but I'm like, I'm a realtor, but I'm also got this cute little kid with me, I'm doing good mom, I'm doing service in the community, and I'm just like. Oh, you know,
Yeah.
it's like trust. I'm
And,
like, trust.
and you're being you,
Yeah.
right?
Like,
'Cause I could
that's
never
how
do that.
do
I
this.
didn't even install a single smoke alarm yesterday.
Four
So,
houses. But-
Yeah, so it's be you. Keep going with that. And then look at someone that is doing it better than you. And how they are doing it. And if you can stay in your own personality and do that, great. If you need to tweak and change, sometimes you do. Like I might need to get into social media. To up my business, that might be my thing. So maybe I get out of my comfort zone of never posting, never liking, never commenting. Like when I say stalkerazzi, like no one knows I'm doing it. It is like, I don't even like anyone's posts. I've liked like 5 things this year. So I'm like, I should start liking things so people know I actually pay
Done
attention.
something.
Yeah.
So wait, I have a question that really.
Yeah.
good. Obviously, sphere of influence, number one,
Yes.
top spot,
Spear's the big one.
and I feel like it's a mix between. Open houses, cold calls, and knocking doors, kind of. Equal.
Yeah, so how I would do it, and Keller Williams has a great tool for this. It's called the GPS. And if you haven't heard or talked about this yet, it stands for goals, priorities, strategies. And so what you do is you come up with one goal. It used to be called the 1-3-5. So you come up with one goal. What's your big one goal? And so that could be like close 10 deals in the rest of this year. And then you go through the priorities. What are your 2 or 3 priorities that will get you to that goal? And so number 1 should always be sphere. Every single person should do that at some capacity. Then you should have probably 1 or 2 other ways that you are focused on getting business. And then within each of those, you should have like 3 to 5 strategies that you're doing. So for like the sphere, you could be like, I'm going to do the DTD2 and call my people every single quarter. I'm going to send them these. I'm going to post on social media. I'm going to be me. And these are my strategies and how I'm going to get so many deals from my sphere that will hit my goal. And then what's the other one? And with you guys being new, it might just be like a trial and error for like the next month or 2. Like go knock some doors or shadow someone that's great at, like I know Lane is great at door knocking. Like what is he doing? Is he still doing door knocking, or has he done it in the past and it worked? And what did he do?
The machine.
Yep, he is. And then if that's not your thing, it's like, okay, well, open houses. It's like, who's doing open houses well and what are they doing that work?
Yeah.
And try some of these things and see like what could potentially build your business. And then forget about everything else, because there's 1,000 different ideas, but you're limited to 3. Sphere and 2 others. And if you can do that, then you will have an amazing business. One day you might be as cool as Dean.
I don't ever. think
The wise guy himself. Yeah. Okay, well, what other questions do you have? I don't know what else is on my slide. Oh, wait, I have some last parting wisdom here, even though we're a minute over. So my last parting wisdom, follow those 4 laws, build the database, feed it daily, systematically communicate with it, and follow up with the leads. Service the business. Do not quit too soon. Right, there's the whole analogy of the guy digging for gold, stop a few feet short. It's the same idea with the sphere, except for every single person in it is the gold. So you have to just continue to build the relationship. So maybe the calls that you made today will bear fruit first. Maybe it's going to be a decade before they call you and give you business. So just keep going. It will work. I have seen people make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars by doing exactly this. But it usually is not $100,000 on day 1. So keep going. Build your database, feed it every day, meaning add more people to it constantly. Systematically communicate with it, which would be calls and emails, aka the 36 touch. And service the leads, service the community. I forget the words that it uses. Yeah, it's the follow-up. Don't let the things fall through the cracks.
Okay, and those 4 single guys in their 40s who like to go country dancing, can you set
Yeah.
them away?
Ooh, I'm thinking of one. I hope he's still single. He's such a cool guy. His name's Steve. He's like, he literally, he won like ballroom dancing championship type thing. Like he is like next level.
Your
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
I don't know why I didn't call him during this, but that's it might take some time to yield results. Don't give up. Keep sending the emails, keep doing, keep talking to people. Think long term. If someone bought a house today, guess what? They will probably buy another house, but it's not going to be this year. But if you keep marketing to them, systematically communicating them, one day you're going to be the real estate agent and not whoever they just used. Always come from care and service. It sounds like that's probably easy for you both, but add value, give people a reason to want to talk to you. And then it's easier when you're making that calls because people are like, oh, good, they're calling me. It's not the multi-level marketing friend that you're like, I don't want to talk to you.
like I know you're doing
Yep.
the script, I know exactly why you're calling me, you have no other reason to call me.
Yep. And then don't forget, the real estate business is a relationship business. So build the most number of relationships and have the best relationship with them. And if you can do that, everything else will probably take care of itself. I mean, you still have to be good at putting deals together and all of the other classes, but if you can't do this first part, you won't have a need for the second part.
so then Cameron, when you first started your business,
Yes.
obviously your circle of sphere of influence was the number one. What was your second and third?
Well, I'm a weirdo. I kind of came in through the back door and I was an admin. So I had a W-2 job
Oh,
that
really?
paid me. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, so I dealt with everyone else's 2 and 3. If I were to start today, like. Move to a new area, maybe I still have some of my sphere, I would do open houses as my number 2. And the whole idea behind the open house would be add those people to my database. And so I would call them at least quarterly. Until they stop answering me, or I have too much else going on that they become like my C business where I'm not reaching out to them anymore.
right. Well, and Mason's my, as a, he's my
Uh-huh.
brother-in-law's brother. And he told me basically that he was getting, he would go on to the KW and like literally have people say, hey, look, I'll pay you to
Yeah.
show the, show someone going out of town, I'm going on vacation, and I gotta go to that.
Yeah, be active in that. What I would do for open houses, I would set myself up on a hot sheet for everything on Keller Williams, Westfield that comes active. And every day look at it and you could even reach out to those people. Dean, do you do your own home open houses? Rarely. And that's how a lot of agents are. And so if you see Dean has a listing that goes active, you could call him and say, hey, Dean, a big part of my goal this year is to do as many open houses and do them the best possible. Do you have a plan for your open house this weekend? And he's either gonna say, no, we're not gonna do an open house. I'm gonna do it out. I have someone doing it, or go ahead.
That's on the hot sheets.
Yeah, so on the MLS, you can do that.
Some alerts say, oh, there's a KW agent, KW Westfield agent, just listing property. They usually call them hot sheets.
Oh, yeah, they're
and
listing
they're
alerts now.
listing alerts. All it means, the hot sheets back in the day. Old MLS books, this is way before Cameron's time and my time. Believe it or not. Is everybody would send one person from the brokerage to the board of realtors, so they go to UConn. And they would.
Hey, thanks everyone on Zoom.
Yeah, and they would hand you a book. that
We're all done.
Photocopy it, and they would warn.